Yo, what's happening, world? Name's Raheem Flowers. It's a beautiful, nice, sunny day in the month of May in Chicago. And since we're on the subject of Chicago, I want to bring up a brother known as Corey Holcomb, Chicago native, a comedian, as well as Tommy Sotomayor, who is a radio personnel whose views are both harshly critical of black women and who have a very prevalent force within social media. Corey Holcomb has his 5151 show with Zoe Williams and their mixed mulatto friend or whatever she is to them, associate. And then Tommy has his whole TNN Raw, Soto Nation movement going on there. Now, last time I said something about Tommy last, but now we're going to do something in reverse. We're going to say something about you first, Mr. Sotomayor. Now, Tommy, you made a video about Corey Holcomb's giving you an apology when they were doing a show, and you had a live show on your TNN Raw 2 channel speaking about it, and you had a lot of skepticism within it. Understandable. In addition to that, you thought it was insincere. You believe that you guys can't go back because of what happened with Zoe and him taking up for Zoe and him threatening you and whatever else transpired. But here's the thing though. What I noticed is, Tommy, you seem like the type of individual, brother, who lives off of this beef with people, with brothers. It's like you can't go 1 year. Last year, you had your problems with Minister Jack, had your problems with Nut Ward or Styles. You had your issues with Lex or whatever that Vortex, Lex Luthor Vortex, yeah, Vortex, whatever that Negro's name is. And you've shown, even before that, you had Jason the Black Authority, you had that Negro Tariq. I don't know where you stand with Umar, and currently and apparently you have issues with Polite now. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're not arguing whether the reasons are right or wrong currently. The fact of the matter is there's a paradigm in there that you find yourself in conflict with other black men. And it's funny because these other black men are supposedly trying to improve the black community by calling out the fuckery that transpires primarily and mostly through black women. Now tell me if what I said was untrue or not. Now, personally, I mean, we all know Tommy, his main income comes from YouTube. It comes from his Patreons. It comes from his GoFundMe. And I've heard all these donations when I used to listen to his shows, in and out, day in, day out. I used to hear all the types, the $40, the $50, the hundreds of dollars, like. But then I think to myself, within all those donations, it seems like he has to talk about somebody. He has to talk about another black man. And it's funny that Tommy said in his video about Corey Holcomb, he said, there's always something special within you. I'm paraphrasing. Everybody has something special within them, but we always have to attach ourselves with someone or something. It's like we can't even just live off of our own merit. But Tommy, you've become that same thing that you referred to in your own video. And it's funny how you spoke about how Corey Holcomb, you were trying to make amends with Corey Holcomb. You DM'd him on Twitter, you tweeted him, you tried to call him, and there was no response. Well, Tommy, I find that pretty interesting because in the past few months, I've been trying to send you messages on your Yahoo on doing a one-on-one with you, brother. And I even took the liberty of responding to an Instagram message or picture that you had. You said within the caption that you are not trying to have any frivolous, trollish BS within your content and your one-on-one discussion with people. You want a constructive, civilized one-on-one. That's funny because when I messaged you and you responded back to me, I told you specifically when I was trying to have a one-on-one with you and what the topic was at hand, but you didn't respond to me, brother. So how could you get on Corey Holcomb for that, but then you get mad, not mad, but you get on him for the same thing that you did to me. Now, there's no bad blood with you, Tommy. It is what it is. I mean, I'm practically indifferent now at this point. I mean, the last time I sent you a message that I could recall was like January. Now we're in the month of May, so I gotta move on, but it's just me pointing something out. It's a hypocritical move on your end. Now, yes, Tommy will argue that he gets dozens of emails and all that stuff, but I ask myself, you take the time to read emails from people who like Brandon or like that mixed girl who you had a discussion with this year, you take the time to even indulge in the fuckery that you claimed you were not trying to be a part of this year. And then you get on Corey Holcomb for not responding to your messages. But I don't even know what was said in your messages. That's something we all have to speculate for. Now, Corey. Now, I'm not going to say whether your apology was sincere or not, but Corey, based off the things I've seen you do and say, when you were talking about Tommy saying, yeah, hey Tammy, Sissy Mayor, you not going to say that to me. You're not going to say that to me, though. I mean, I look at it like this with Corey. These niggas gossip too much. And I remember saying this before. Back when I used to really be into Tommy's content, I remember used to saying, hey, how are these dudes going to gossip? They are old enough to be my parents. I was 24 at the time. Now I'm 25. But these cats were old enough to be my parents. And yet they're gossiping around the table, talking about how another man is on some fruity tooty, dick in the booty type of shit. To me, that's suspect in itself. To have a whole discussion about a man taking it up the ass day in and day out, Corey. So, anybody who supports 5150, you spent a whole segment talking about how Tommy's gay on the low and how he's making his money and all that. But then, Corey, I have to ask myself, that's pretty hilarious because this is coming from a nigga that comes from Hollywood. You are enveloped in the Hollywood environment. So how are you going to talk about the suspect stuff that Tommy does or the things that he has seen, but then you gossip about suspect shit that another man does? Like, why? Like, only a suspect or a gay person would be that concerned about making a whole entire segment. It's one thing to address it and have skepticism about it. It's another thing to base a conversation on it. And that's what you did. And you hitting 50 now, brother? Or you fixing to hit 50? So that's not cool. It shows me that black folks are comfortably miserable. These black men will go in, talk shit about black women. We know the dysfunction. We know black women have masochistic tendencies. Anybody who has a critical thought in their mind, anybody who can see and have any sort of common sense can see that. Black women have these masochistic tendencies and they thrive off of being comfortably miserable, looking for dick and attention, as you like to say, Tommy. We know this. But I bet you there's not no black man out there just being like, you know what? We ain't even gonna sweat black women. We just gonna do us. We're gonna build. We're gonna have a solid foundation. And if they don't want to follow suit, then these bras gonna get left in the dust. Because let me tell you something. Just like these black women who are on Section 8 who are on welfare, who take pride in being single mothers, just like these broads right here. Y'all are just as comfortably miserable as them. Black folks are truly loyal to comfort, and comfort is the enemy. My homie inspired me to make this video, and comfort is the enemy, and y'all have proven it. All y'all do will rant and rave knowing that you can monetize talking shit about black women, but you ain't doing shit for them, you ain't doing shit for kids, you ain't doing shit for black men, period, out there. But then you have the nerve to say these black women ain't shit. Well, lead by example. And I'm not saying just lead black women, but lead black children too. I understand not every black man had their father in their life, and I was fortunate enough too. But shoot, if you know what the problem is, well, it's time to just act on it. You have to set goals for yourself. You have to tell yourself this is what you want it to be. Instead of just saying, oh man, these black women ain't shit, and these black women are so manipulative. Like, these are the things we know. You pointing out the problems. It's time to apply the solutions, because as far as I'm concerned, it seems like you know the solutions. Like Tommy, you talk about how black women are hair-hatted hooligans and they should embrace their natural hair more often, and you calling them Negro-peons. Well, if you know that, and if you said that 2/3 of your fans are black women, well, just keep doing that, lead by example, and start to have more of a positive angle, but still being critical within talking about black women, instead of trying to have channels like Hollywood clowning black women. And then Corey Holcomb. I mean, you can make your jokes all day and you can have your comedy stand-ups, but it's like you start to lose focus on who the true enemy is. We become enemies to ourselves. For real. We all know that these black women have a tendency to be double agents, but black men become enemies to themselves the moment that they get caught up in comfort and ego. That's what Corey has proven. That's what Tommy has proven. But based off of this apology, perhaps Corey is trying to make amends. Perhaps he is just trying to say fuck that. And part of me believes that Tommy just wants to perpetuate whatever issues, because he can talk about it once in a while when it comes up, and whenever he feels like he's being slighted, it gives him a reason to add more content to his channels. Therefore, he's going to make more money. But why would he want to fuck that up? That's just a cynical side of me talking, but that's what I believe, man. The moment black men get out that mentality, because, you know, we're the ones who are supposed to provide, protect the children, protect the women, and protect our valuables and investments. But Tommy and Corey and all these Negroes in the black sector have proven time after time after time that they thrive off of being comfortably miserable, just like the black women that they talk about. And that's not to say these black women are off the hook too, because a lot of these simp-ass niggas want to justify their dysfunction because they know that there's a lot of black men out there who enable it because they want to fuck them, instead of teach them better. You know? That's all we got to do. I'm doing it. My homie's doing it. But, hey, man, I think it's going to take a collective of black men to change this community. In essence, the world, too, because when we move, the world moves. Something to keep in mind, people. All right, peace out.